What's going on, everybody? Another episode of Tusketeer Hogcast. Doing it a little late this week. Had some things come up on Bucks End where we had to push it back a couple of days, and then
some people's got to work.
Some people's got to work, and then shit, I didn't know if I was going to get to do it tonight, but luckily it worked out where we could do it tonight and not have to do it tomorrow. And you're going down. Camo's going to be in Dallas,
absolutely,
for the game.
Yeah, excited
Sorry, Arlington.
Last Southwest Classic. So
that's right. Well, again, thank you for following us. I don't know how to ever start this shit.
So speaking of that, the Southwest Classic, if we win the trophy, do we keep it forever? How does that work?
That's a good question.
That's been a big discussion I've heard.
I've heard that discussed too.
And they may move it to the home and home and just switch it. Whoever wins the home and home.
I could see.
I think the best thing is to give them both a trophy and write down on the trophy, engraved on, what year and who won that year and the score and all that.
Yeah. Now I've been hearing a lot of that chatter as well this week and on the radio and what what I've also heard is each team gets a trophy, just make another one and just put on there like a plaque, like we do with the boot. And
don't know if you can call it the Southwest Classic with it not being in Dallas, but may come up with a different name, different title. So
the Hogs pull out an ugly win down in Auburn, Alabama last week, 24-14 win.
Little less fresh on our minds being Thursday instead of Tuesday.
I think we can spend a little bit of time talking about that and a lot of time on the rest of the week and this weekend. But hey, we're 3-1. I mean, best.
I just want to hear y'all say 3 words.
I told you so.
I was wrong.
Well,
because I was going to
say that if you're talking about my prediction, I made that prediction at the beginning of the year. And because I didn't know how good, Green was going to be and how we would mesh with Bobby Petrino. But it's looking like Bobby Petrino, even though he had a bad week last week and kind of the week before a little bit. He's got a sight set on A&M, I think, because he's a little agitated about how he kind of got fired there. So,
yeah.
Wanted to prove himself for sure.
Yeah,
but there is only one person here on the panel that's 4-0 on the prediction list here, and it's the guy on the right.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
I don't feel your enthusiasm.
Well, I'm just glad
you get a pat on the back if I could reach you.
I'm just glad we were wrong last week and you were right. And,
for sure.
Well, you said you were hoping that.
Yeah, I was hoping you would prove us wrong, and you did.
There's nothing I can say to I told you so. I mean, I'm glad you're saying that.
Yeah, no, I told you so. We are a little blurry this week on our live. I'm not sure.
I've got everything off. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but we're a little blurry. We'll try to get that fixed as the cast goes on, but we have not changed anything. But it's fine. We've got Wes on there saying he picked the Hogs to win as well.
And almost picked the exact score. I think Wes picked 28-17. And it was 24-14. So he was really, really close.
Yeah, Wes was close. And, I mean, thoughts on what Hugh Freeze said post-game, throwing his quarterbacks under the bus and, saying he could – if we played that game nine times, they beat us 9 times.
That's a sore loser.
That's a sore loser. What did I say? He's got a vendetta against the Hogs and really wants to win.
But
you said, why do you say that? That's proof.
If anybody watched that game – I mean, just watched it and did the eye test.
We were the better team.
Yeah, we were the better team, even though they had a sucky quarterback and couldn't. They had a lot of quarterbacks.
You know what? You know what I think it is? It's the Hunter Heave.
Yeah, he was part of.
He was the coach at Ole Miss.
Yeah,
he hates Arkansas, and that's why he said it. He wanted to get under our skin, and he probably did. He got under a lot of our skins.
Yeah. Well,
he was on the ref all fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what Bo Nix said about him. Coming out, after he left, and it said all that this week, I guess, but said that that man didn't help me, you know, and so he said he's got something that he's going to keep quiet and say for a rainy day, and So we'll
Wonder
probably,
what that is.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. We'll probably hear about that in the future.
Yeah,
whatever.
I imagine when he's out of college.
Probably. But
Bo Nix.
he is.
Bo
yeah,
Nix
that's
is
right.
playing
Yeah,
for the
that's right.
Broncos.
Yeah, that's right.
Broncos.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still thinking he's in Oregon.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I mean, still in question is Taylor Green's accuracy. I mean, we say it every week. When he's outside of the pocket, I feel a lot better than when he's inside the pocket. The pocket's been collapsing on him. Hey, if you want to beat Arkansas, and you're gonna have to make them. You're gonna have to make Taylor Green beat you with his arm.
Yeah, they're
And
gonna start stacking the box.
They're gonna start stacking the box, but I kind of like that because I think Bobby Petrino will pick that up and make those adjustments very quick.
Well, the adjustments can be made, but you still got to pull it off.
You got to
make the throws.
Right, but
and he's 4th or 5th in the league in passing. Imagine if he had completed some of those balls he hasn't. He'd be second or better.
Yeah, and here's what I was going to say: dropping the balls, Tyrone Broden dropping balls, which makes me question why are we targeting him instead of Tesla or Haas? Broden's got to catch some balls this week.
All I know is that's not on Bobby Petrino. He's not telling.
I think Colt's calling in.
He's not telling
all
the quarterback.
All he's got to do is join. Tell him to click the link that I sent him last week. Should be the same link anyway. So yeah, we'll get Colt on.
Bobby Petrino's calling the plays and telling the quarterback, the first 2, maybe 3 options, all of them. But really, he's probably telling Green, if the first 2 ain't there, take off.
Yeah.
Because that's our best chance.
That's our best chance. We're one of the best teams in the country on third downs. I mean, because
one of the best rushing teams too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean, we might be first on third down, but I like our chances on third down.
Yeah, I think they said we're first
a lot better
this
year. Yeah. I mean, he's a lot faster than he looks. Taylor Green is when he takes off. So, But yeah, I mean, another interesting thing that I heard on the radio last week was Dan Hampton, a Hall of Famer, Dan Hampton. Okay, he's going to call in 5. Okay, so Colt's going to call in for Colt's Corner here in just a bit.
My phone.
But an interesting topic that Dan Hampton brought up last week that I heard was because we're trying to recruit every day, they got to recruit every single day. You've heard multiple coaches say it. You don't just recruit them one time. You got to recruit day in and day out to keep them there. We've got 55 guys out of the portal this past year.
Yeah.
Are our best players playing? I think so. But I think it's a good question to ask your team or to ask about your team, all the teams is, are your best players playing? Because you might have, your best receiver, playing, but then your backup is like, well, I'm not getting that many targets. I'm going to do what UNLV quarterback did. I'm just,
I think it's a battle with coaches.
Speaking of that, we're bringing this up every week. NIL, I mean, it's just ruining. They got to get a handle on this. I don't know how they're going to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
to be
questions.
regulated. It has to be.
I'm tired of talking.
It's the
wild,
wild west in the NCAA.
I mean, it's like you said, do what you want to do, pay who you want to pay them however much you want to pay, and promise them whatever you want to promise them, apparently, and not fulfill those promises. So, it's just a lot of wild west, like you said.
Yeah. Wes giving the defense an A for their performance last week. Absolutely. I mean, you can't ask for a former Auburn Tiger defense, player as our defensive coordinator to go in.
I think they took it personal.
And I think he did too.
They took it personal.
TJ Metcalf definitely did. Defensive player, SEC
player
of the week. He's from Alabama.
Right. And he took that personal.
That's what I want.
I
love seeing that.
He had a forced fumble and 2 interceptions. Wasn't he one of the interceptions that I don't think was?
He tipped the ball for Slaughter to pick. So
who intercepted that ball that fumbled right at the ground right at the end of the second half?
That was Metcalf.
Or first half, I mean.
Yeah, Metcalf.
I honestly don't think that was an interception.
And he caused the fumble that we
right at the goal line, which is, I mean, it's mistakes on Auburn, honestly. I mean, it's good play by us, but they're
forced turnovers.
But what I would like to see,
playing hard,
we only scored, we only turned those 5 turnovers into 10 points. We got to do better at capitalizing on because the score would have been a lot worse if we could have.
I think the biggest play of the game was that forced fumble right at the 5
Three of
the
5
five
yard line. That was huge. They were
huge.
driving down the field. They were about to,
That was a 65-yard run.
Yeah, it
Or
was
more.
huge.
It might have been more.
Well,
but
3 of our 5 turnovers, they turned it over in field goal position.
Right.
So you got to think maybe possible touchdowns, but almost surefire field goals.
Yeah.
And that's 9 points minimum or
And
more.
what did Hugh
by
Freeze
10.
say after the game? He wants a quarterback that doesn't throw it to the other team or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, we got
He threw him under the bus. I mean,
That's
that's a sorry head coach.
Important box to check.
That's a sorry head coach to say that, though.
Here's
There's
the thing.
better ways to say
They've
that.
got Oklahoma, and I want to be done talking about Auburn, but they've got Oklahoma coming in to their field, their stadium this week, and if he hasn't lost the team already, when they lose this week, that team will quit on him.
Yeah, they got to have.
It'll be the
chip on their
Chad.
shoulder.
It'll be the Chad Morris effect at Auburn if they lose this week, and
I
it might
wouldn't-
already
I
be
wouldn't
that
go
way
that
because
far,
they
It's a spiral down this
I don't
week
know,
from
man.
losing Arkansas.
just like you say, it's NIL. People don't care about winning anymore.
I just hope
you
this NLV thing with the quarterback doesn't, have a rolling effect onto other teams and start a trend of, hey, they're not giving me what they promised me.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough situation because we're only getting bits and pieces of the full story and obviously not the full story. I think we got Colt calling in. Colt, what up, dude?
Boys,
What up, Colt?
What's
what
that?
are you guys up to tonight?
Man, we're just hanging out, having a good time, talking a little bit of Razorbacks. What are you up to? Where you at?
Yeah, man, I'm headed home from T-ball practice.
Okay.
Being a dad, dude.
You're in
Being a
the
dad.
state. You're in the state. Last time, maybe not last time, you were at Disney World. One of the times you were at
Time
Disney.
before last.
Colt.
Yeah.
Colt, it seems like
2 weeks ago, Disney World. Yep.
Colt, it seems like just yesterday, me and you were playing T-ball. Remember that? T-ball
Dude,
for the Panthers, I
man,
think it was.
Every time, I was thinking about this on the way to T-ball. That's the good thing about this podcast is we get sentimental sometimes. But I'm sitting there and I've been dealing with a bunch of stuff today and just crazy stuff in my life. And I just was anxious. And then you get to the T-ball field and it's just like it all goes away because you're sitting there playing with your kids and just not a care in the world, dude. So it's the best freaking thing ever, dude.
Well,
So it puts a lot of things in perspective.
I'm glad you say that, Colt, because you're not mentioning Buck going 0 for 4 in T-ball.
Oh, come on. Man. I was a star player back then. Oh.
That's great.
No, I think me and Colt played up on fast pitch when we were T-ball, and we won a state championship playing up.
Heck yeah.
We did. Hey, and my kid plays up. I'm telling you, it's the best thing you can do for your kids. Make them play up, make them fail. They'll find out really quick who they are. So
I think
for all
Colt
you
was sitting on
soft parents, all you soft parents out there, listen up. It's free advice.
I think Colt was sitting on the bench, and I was the starting pitcher, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, playing against older and better competition is definitely better.
For sure.
That's right.
Well, Colt, I mean, we go into Auburn, we win. It was a little ugly. We forced 5 turnovers, scored 10 points off of those. Give us your overall grade of the game, and then let's move on from Auburn and let's talk A&M.
Yeah, let's see here. I think it confirmed what we talked about last time, and it did look like we were prepped for them pretty well. Our defense played great. I really like how we do. Yeah, it's like we did give up some chunk plays. That is concerning. However, I think we do a really good job of shrinking the, especially zone. I think our D-backs, I really been impressed with our DBs, honestly. I really have.
Yeah.
And, that's something to watch at. That's something to watch for because it is very difficult when a team's driving to do what they did and come up with big plays at big times. So that's encouraging, honestly,
Colt,
to tell you the
I've
truth.
always said D-backs is really the hardest position, if one of the hardest positions to play in football, because you're out on the island, you're in space, you're having to make open field tackles, you're having to guard sometimes the most athletic guy on the other team, And, to do that as a unit and to play like we're playing, I think they've been under talked about and underappreciated so far this year.
They're coached up well for sure.
I agree. And, the defensive line to me we've got to get better. We've got to get better. And I think if that defensive line can find something and get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback, get a few more sacks, I think those DBs start standing out a little bit more too. We
did that better this week, though. We, as the panel, and of course you mentioned it, we had to get pressure. We did that. I think we checked really most of the boxes that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
Pressure. Play hard.
Defensively,
run the ball.
Yeah.
Defensively, and then if y'all remember, I made a statement last week that I said Zatane is going to get involved more, and he's got the long touchdown catch, a great catch.
Yeah.
He led the team in receiving yards, of
85
course.
yards.
A little
catches,
underthrown,
touchdown.
but he was also on the run,
Yeah.
throwing across his body.
Yeah,
I mean,
so,
gotta
And we
expect
also
that.
talked about
Yeah.
JJ getting more carries. Against UAB, he had 15 carries. I think he had 27, 25 this game. So
Yeah,
we got him 10 or 12 more carries, and we needed to do that.
yeah.
Yeah, you got to get that dude the football. You got to feed him the rock. We did see a lot more. I'm pretty positive, without looking at
Yeah, Colt, you're breaking up.
You're
a little
breaking up.
bit.
I don't know if you're in a bad
Might be
area
in
or
a
what.
bad area.
I'm going to BFE. You can hear me now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where was T-ball
good deal.
practice? Where was T-ball practice at?
Well, I'm in Cabot, but I live on these back roads, so
Okay.
Yeah.
I live on these back roads.
Well,
So, but yeah, I think I'm over. I'm on top of the hill. I'm like Mike Murphy in Lone Survivor. I got to get to that sat phone. I got to get a shot.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Was-
But offensively, I think when we get Taylor Green, when he gets outside the pocket, I think he's a much better passer on the run. I think he's so much better in space. We did have a lot of drops. I mean, you look at Broden. Hey, he gets open. Listen, he gets open. So at some point, he's going to be like hot hands Hanen on Little Giants, and you got to start throwing him toilet paper in practice. But we got to catch the ball, buddy.
Well, that's only half of it. If you get open, great, but you got to complete the catch.
So these last 2 weeks, Colt, what do you think is the problem, if we have a problem with our offense?
Here, what do I think is the problem with our offense?
You think it's Bobby Petrino? You think it's a player specifically?
No, I think it's a players thing. I'm going to find out. I think we'll find out a lot more in Texas A&M. I'm going to kind of hold my thoughts to A&M. I just still think Green's got to get more accurate.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got to happen. And I know we sound like a broken record talking about it, but you got to figure out, and I'm sure Petrino will do a great job of really kind of getting the offense more worked around him, moving the pocket a little bit for him. He always adapts. I'm not worried about that. But the quarterback play, guys, let's take away the running. You have to be able to throw the ball in the pocket. That's the one thing I see that really just stands out, that we've got to have more of a pocket presence.
Yeah.
Well,
on
I'll say
offense.
this, knowing that he wants to get out of the pocket, you're going to send the two ends, left and right ends, hard up the line, kind of out to the perimeter, to where you're going to try to contain him in the pocket, knowing that he's wanting to get outside. That's the way I would play it if I was a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, but that's why he's so effective, though, and we can live with it because those DNs get outside contained. If we do a good job pushing them outside, man, it's just like, okay, hey, run the ball.
Yeah.
And then he's going to run for 85, 90 yards a game, 100 maybe. So you're going to have to live. We're going to have to live with it. It is what it is. We're going to have to live with it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, we're rolling into Arlington. We've only beat A&M once since they've joined the SEC.
Once in 12 years, I think it is.
It's tough.
Man.
I mean, we lead the overall series with them. I think 42-35 or something like that. I've got it wrote down, but and I'll confirm that. But you know, we're rolling in. It's the last year at Jerry's World. Colt, what's our key to win this game and come back 4-1 and go into Fayetteville and beat Tennessee next week?
I think the key, honestly, is simple. I've told a few of my buddies this. I think if Connor Wegman plays, we win. I think if Wegman plays, we win. I think he's that bad of a quarterback.
Yeah.
I think he's that bad of a quarterback. I think if the other kid plays, I think it's going to be a lot closer game than we think. You know, I'm hoping – this is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that we have the momentum to say – and it's not looking ahead, but you got to see what's on the line right now for your season. As Josh said, we're 4-1 going into Tennessee at home. We got Tennessee, Texas, and Ole Miss at home. You win this game, something can happen, and that goes back to what I said in week 2. It's not 7. It's not 8, it's 9.
Yeah.
And you've got a really good chance of that. You've got a very good chance.
You're not saying we're going to win all 3 of those games, are you?
No, but I think what he's saying is we have a chance
because
of beating somebody we're not supposed to.
We're lucky to win one of those games.
If we can get to 4-1.
Yeah.
You know, we can beat somebody that we're not supposed to.
I'm just saying we're really lucky if we win one of those.
Yeah.
But
if you're Sam, you've got to get to Tennessee 4-1. We've got to get there. You're going to make more of a believer out of me getting to Tennessee and winning 1 or 2 of those games. I don't think we win all 3, but I think that solidifies LSU as a win in my book. It puts LSU as a win. It puts La Tech as a win. Seeing Vandy and Tennessee and Vandy and Missouri, I think Missouri is a bunch of frauds.
We got Mississippi State.
Trash.
We got Mississippi State.
What happens if we win this week, just a close game, and then we get blown out 3 games in a row?
Well, Tennessee's blown everyone out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So is Texas, right?
Texas
Ole Miss
played
has
nobody.
too.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've been
Ole Miss
blowing
hasn't
everybody
played
out. So
anybody.
what if we get blown out by all 3 of those teams? What are y'all going to think then?
I think that's
I don't think
expected.
that's
I think everyone has pretty much chalked those up as probably a loss, hoping for a win, not a win. You know, for sure.
So it's not going to affect your opinions of the team.
We gotta get there first. What I'm saying is for him to buy more time in my book, he's got to get there 4-1. He's got to get there 4-1.
I agree.
We got to get the Tennessee game. Got to get the Tennessee game, and then we take it 1 game at a time, because then you can build off that momentum and tell your football team, hey, look, boys, we got a chance to do something special right here.
Yeah.
Winning the SEC is technically still in play. Forget the OSU game, because you can still do your thing and get a playoff spot. And I'm not sitting here saying playoffs. I'm just saying if you want something to build and have camaraderie for and have a culture building thing.
Well, you have to have goals. And that could be a goal, a team goal that we could be shooting for.
I think we could make the playoff having 2 more losses, 3 losses total. I think that's a possibility.
If we lost to Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss, and won the rest, we have a shot to get that 12
yes,
spot.
I don't think
absolutely.
Depending on what happens throughout the college
a
football
3-loss
landscape.
SEC team, mark my words, will get in the playoffs.
Yeah, now, maybe not this year, but it will happen.
Yeah, for sure.
What do we have? 5 out of the 6 out of the top 6 right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's saying something. That's saying something. So, that'll shake up. It'll to do it. Our schedule is now. I'm not saying it's favorable, but we have those teams at home. Now we play crappy at home. However, I think you build up some momentum, and it can change you.
Yeah.
So
I think it really can. Did you watch the Bowling Green game? A&M Bowling Green. Did you watch the game where they barely beat Bowling Green by 26-20?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it.
See the highlights. So, in my opinion, if Bowling Green can stay that close, I think we've got a really good shot.
I don't think A&M's a good football team. I think they're okay. I think they're going to be honestly, I think they're going to be just a touch better than Auburn. Auburn, to me, Auburn's always had a good defense. I was actually telling 2 guys that today.
Hard. Yeah. You could see the difference in that game. They were flying to the football, hitting us very, very
I think
hard.
our offense is going to have to play better this week than we did at Auburn and the week before.
But I'm going to tell y'all this, and I'm going to leave it at this. I would never let my kid play for Hugh Freeze. Ever.
Nine more
Ever.
games, they're
Hey, Cole,
winning 9 more times, Colt.
What do you got
That
as a
is
score?
Sore loser. He's a sore loser.
What
Dude,
do
he
you got
is.
as a score, Colt, for Saturday?
Mud Dogs are going to win 30-27.
30-27. Joe Montana.
30-27.
Joe Montana is taking them to the victory.
Joe Montana was a quarterback, you crazy idiot. Anyway, that's what I got. 30-27 Hogs. I was close last week. I was a touchdown off last week.
And Ramsey maybe being the hero?
No shot. No, he doesn't kick the winner. They missed the field goal for the tie. They missed the field goal for the tie.
Well,
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Cam
We're
Little
destined for some luck.
missed the kick last.
Yeah.
We're destined for some luck at this game. I mean, it's been unlucky after unlucky game.
We're due.
I'll tell you, if there's any stadium to get your kicking right, it's in Dallas because Brandon Aubrey is the Dallas Cowboys, boys.
Maybe he could
Speaking of the Dallas
up and
Cowboys,
just put the Ramsey jersey on. Nobody will ever know.
Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, what do you think about them this year, Colt?
Boys, it's hard.
Here's your kid going hang up.
It is hard.
They better beat the Giants.
Y'all,
where's the NFL?
Hey, y'all think that I'm a big Sam Pittman fan? You should see how much I cheer for Mike McCarthy. Let me tell you.
Dak Prescott, man, he's goated.
Well,
Dude,
Colt,
it's not so much Dak, but that's a story for another day, in my opinion. But
well, hey, Colt, appreciate you as always. Hope you're right on the W there, and hey, go Hogs!
Get home safe, Colt.
Go
Appreciate
Hogs,
it,
baby. Woo pig. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Oh, Colt Harmon there, little Colt's corner. I like what he said. I like the outcome. I've got a little bit different outcome. I'm
feeling
score wise.
Colt's a little more positive.
Well, I will say this.
He's not as,
He's also driving home from T-ball practice, probably in a little bit better mood.
Well, he's not as
later in the week after the game happens, So
well, I'll tell you this. I felt something this week that I haven't felt really all year. I felt it a little bit when we were the Oklahoma State week. But I feel something crazy this week, and I've got a pretty bold prediction when we get to the review for this game in the cast. But I want to keep it at that, and got a little something up my sleeves here. So I think it's little Woo Pig Kiwi time, and I think Camo's got us got the questions, or going to provide the questions this week.
So what's the score on this?
I've got 6 guesses right. So I've guessed 3 times. There was one that you asked all the questions.
How many right answers?
Right.
How many right answers does the total?
I've got 6 total.
So
I've got 2 total.
Yeah, I think I've got 2 as well.
Okay, so it's 6-2-2.
Yeah,
y'all got some catching up to do.
Yeah,
well, and this is your chance because I'm asking.
He's probably going to ask them super hard.
Let's see.
Google ready.
All right. Question number 1: what team has the most bowl wins in the NCAA?
Total
history, all time. Is it A, USC? Is it B, Alabama? C, Georgia? Or D, Penn State?
Penn State.
I'm gonna go Penn State with back in the Joe Pye era. I'm gonna go Penn State.
You're wrong. It is B, Alabama.
Damn.
Alabama has 45 bowl wins. Number 2 on that list would be Georgia. 3rd would be USC, and actually 4th would be Penn State.
I wonder how many bowl games they've won in the past 15 years since Nick Saban basically was coaching.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Probably at least 13 or 14.
And actually, technically, Oklahoma, Texas, and Tennessee is tied with Penn State, but Penn State has a better winning percentage on the bowl, so I gave them the nod to give them the 4th spot.
There you go.
So Arkansas is actually 17, 24, and 3. We're around 20th on bowl wins out of the whole NCAA history.
Yeah.
Question number 2. What is the oldest college football team in college football history? Is it A, Yale, B, Princeton, C, Rutgers, or D, Brown?
Yale.
Brown.
Wrong again.
Both of us? Brown. What's Brown? I've never even heard
Brown
of it.
University.
Brown University.
They're an Ivy League school.
Don't tell me it's Princeton.
BU.
It is actually C. Rutgers.
Rutgers.
I wouldn't
They
have
played in
guessed
the
that.
very-
That's
They
crazy.
played in the very first football game, November 6th, 1869. Their university is 154 years old. Their football team is 154.
Who did they
years
How
old.
close is that to Yale and Princeton? Because
Well,
I know they're
they
old.
play-
They play because
They played Yale, but they were established before Yale and actually won that game November 6, 1869. So being the first winning football team to win the very first NCAA college football
So
game.
technically, I wasn't wrong.
Well, they
that-
were technically established
That's
first.
a half a point. Come on now.
Rutgers by about maybe a month.
That's
You're
a
wrong.
half a point.
Yeah. We don't do half points. All right. What team was the first and only team in college football history to finish their season with 4 ties in a season? 4 ties with an overall record.
Do we get a year on this?
Yes. They finished their season 6-1-4, and it was in 1991. Is it A, Marshall Thundering Herd? Is it B, Kansas State Wildcats? Is it C, Central Michigan Chippewas? Or is it D, SMU Mustangs?
Man.
That's a shot in the dark.
I want to say it's SMU. I feel like I've read something.
I'm going to
about
go with the
SMU.
Chippewas. That's a random
Is that
team.
your final answer?
That is my
SMU
final
is my
answer.
final answer.
Buck would hit
There
it
you
on
go.
the head.
It was so
It is
random
C.
of a team. I had to guess that.
So in 1991, the Chippewas tied 4 games, 6-1-4 in 75% of their games. 2 of their wins and the 4 ties were actually decided in the last minute of the football game.
When
Wow.
did bowl games start happening in NCAA?
Oh gosh, that's another whooping QE.
I might have that next week.
All right,
Yeah,
well, I'm
my-
going to look it up. So
I
I thought you meant you had that, actually.
I
That's
was hoping
All right,
he'd know it.
question number 4. In 1995, this matchup was the last game in NCAA football history to end in a tie, because then after 1995, we went to the overtime setup. So the game finished 3-3. And like I said, 1995, A, Arkansas versus South Carolina. B, Stanford versus Fresno State. C, UNLV versus Arizona State. Or D, Illinois versus Wisconsin.
who was B?
B was Stanford versus Fresno State.
What was C?
C, UNLV versus Arizona State. Sun Devils.
I have no idea. I'm gonna go B.
I'm going to go A just because it has Arkansas in there.
It is D. Illinois versus
I'm
Wisconsin.
terrible at this.
We are.
And actually, a fun fact of this, their quarterback for Wisconsin played the whole game until the last 3 minutes with a lacerated spleen. He passed out on the sidelines. They had to bring the backup quarterback in
Shit.
and ended up in a tie.
Talk about a
So-
defensive game. That's crazy.
Yeah. Last question. Question 5. What Arkansas wide receiver holds the all-time Razorback receiving touchdown record for their career? Is it A, Jarius Wright, B, Marcus Monk, C, Anthony Lucas, or D, Keon Hatcher?
Jerry's right. No, wait, whoa. I'm changing. No, I'm not. Because he had Ron Mallett as quarterback. I'm going Jerry's right.
And Tyler Wilson, but yeah.
I'm going Jerry's right.
Read through it again. Read the.
So all-time
You gotta pick
touchdown
something
receiving wide receiver in their career be Jarius Wright, Marcus Monk, Anthony Lucas, Keon Hatcher.
I'm gonna go Anthony Lucas.
It is, well, my phone's off.
You know,
It is B, Marcus Monk with 27.
Marcus.
I just didn't
27
think it would be
touchdowns.
him since it was him and Matt Jones back
Marcus
then,
Monk.
right? So
27. Actually, Jarius Wright has 24. He's second. Anthony Lucas is 23rd. He has 23. He's third. And Keon's fourth with 19.
Jerry's
Okay.
right went to the NFL, I think, after his junior year, right?
When,
Yeah.
drafted Minnesota Vikings.
Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never panned out. I
I
So
guess.
suck.
one answer.
I suck yet again.
Hey,
right answer.
I got one closer. I got one. I'm bringing some tough ones next week. Y'all ain't gonna get a single
All right.
thing right.
Well, that was fun. So going into week 4, no, week 5, excuse me. What y'all's outlook? I don't know if y'all watch a lot of football outside of just the Razorbacks like I do. I mean, I'll try to watch as many games as possible
Me
on
too.
Saturdays and anytime
I usually
it's on.
YouTube highlights of the game.
Yeah.
So you get about the top 20, 30 plays. You get to see kind of the gist.
I watch a lot of Sports Center and stuff,
of the
you know,
matchup.
ESPN.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of highlights, but I also watch some games, especially NFL. But
Yeah.
college, if you're talking, then yeah.
So what's your thoughts of the SEC? Let's just keep it SEC. So right now, you're of all the teams so far. Who do you think's riding high? Who do you think's maybe a little bit overrated, and who's maybe doing a little bit better than you thought?
I put this in 5 sections. The best, obviously, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas. That's the top 4.
Alabama?
Alabama.
You don't have Alabama?
I've got Alabama susceptible. They're actually, and this is why Alabama is going into the home game as the underdog for the first time in like 15
Probably
years.
15 years, yeah.
You know, a ton. You know, they haven't been an underdog at home in a long time, which Vegas is thinking they're susceptible. I'm kind of thinking that way too. I think they could probably lose 2-3 games this year, honestly, if they don't play like they need to. So I've got the second tier would be really good, and that's Alabama, Missouri. The good teams, I've got Arkansas, LSU, Oklahoma, South Carolina. Decent, but with questions would be A&M, Auburn, Kentucky, Vandy. And then the terrible bad teams would be Florida, Mississippi State.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Vandy to me too. I mean, they're up there for bad.
I think the disappointments, LSU fan base isn't happy. They've squeaked by, and they all had that loss, you know, at the beginning of the year to Cal, I think it was.
Yeah, but
They're 3-1.
They're 3-1, but they've squeaked by. They barely
Yeah.
beat South Carolina, and
Which
they're not
means
happy.
they can lose,
they want to be up
but
there.
they found a way to win, which kind of builds some resilience and some
Kind of what
some
we have
tough,
done. I
tough,
mean,
thick skin. So I'm kind of almost scared that they've had tough games,
I think
because if it's a tough game against Arkansas, we've found a way to lose Oklahoma State.
if you put their
They
schedule
found a way
against
to
our
win.
schedule, I think we have a tougher schedule than LSU does.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I
we
mean,
have the 3rd toughest schedule in
I think
college
if
football.
we played Cal, we would beat Cal. I would assume. Depends, you know,
Well, we
where it's
beat
played.
Auburn and Cal beat Auburn, so
Yeah,
I would say it'd be really good game.
right. So my top teams, I've got Georgia, number 1. They've been there, done that. I've got Texas, number 2. It's a close tie between Texas and Alabama. Alabama, number 3. Ole Miss, number 4.
I've got Tennessee, the best team in the SEC right
I
now.
think Ole Miss, without their offense, they're nothing. Even though they got a lot of talent, they're nothing without their offense. I think some defensive scheme is going to get to them one game. This Georgia, Texas, Alabama team. I don't know their schedule, but anyway. And Arkansas is right there in the middle of the pack. We're about as good as Kentucky, South Carolina, Missouri. They're overranked. They're overrated, I think.
I hope so.
I mean, what are they, 6?
We'll find that out here in the
Missouri?
next few weeks.
Yeah, they're like 6 or 7. Or,
Yeah, they're 6.
they're
Yeah,
pretty high up there.
They're 11.
I think they're overrated.
They're 11.
Oh, okay.
They're not in the top.
Okay, I thought
they're
they
not in
were.
the top 10.
They were, I thought.
They're 11. No, they're not in the top 10.
Maybe Ole Miss is 6. Maybe that's out.
Ole Miss is 5.
Ole Miss
Okay.
is 6.
6. Okay.
Oh, they
Yeah.
dropped down then.
Ole
They
Miss
were
is
5.
6.
Yeah, because we've got what, 5 of the 6 teams.
Tennessee is number 5.
5 teams
They moved-
in the
they
top
flip-flopped.
6 nationally are SEC teams.
Yeah, because you got Texas number
Oh,
1.
Ohio State's the only team that's not in the
Yeah,
SEC
in
in the top 6.
5. Yeah. I mean, I think
We're right there with A&M, you know, right there in the middle of the pack.
I think we're better than A&M, but
This
Well, we
week
can
is going to
beat-
prove a lot.
If we can beat A&M, beat LSU, that's going to throw us more towards the upper part of
well, shit,
you
yeah.
know, of the league, and not in the middle of the pack.
Yeah,
And,
no,
you know, we have
we
our
beat A&M and we
destiny in
we
our
going
hands.
to beat. Here's the thing: we beat A&M. We're going to get ranked. Unfortunately, we're going to
You
get ranked.
you think so? On a last second field goal, they had so many
It doesn't matter
mistakes.
how
You
we
think we're
win.
getting
It
ranked?
doesn't matter how we win. We win. They're going to see we beat a top 25 team.
they're going to
and-
find a way to keep us out.
Y'all know what we
No,
are this
no,
week?
No, I don't. I hope they do. If we win,
I feel like they will. They never get.
I hope we do
Arkansas
because
credit.
I swear the last after Bobby Trump we get ranked, it just goes to our head and
Yeah.
we suck it up from there. But I do. I think they'll put us in the top 25. We'll start getting noticed. Once we beat, and then going into don't
It'll
want to go
only
too
be
far ahead, obviously,
lived.
but going
It'll be
into
short-lived because after we
Fayetteville.
lose to Tennessee,
Well,
we'll jump right back down.
yeah. But no, I'm right up there with you. I think a little bit different than you on the Bama Georgia scenario this weekend. I think Bama knocks them off. I just looked. The spread right now is -1 Georgia. So I think Bama knocks them off. I think only because it is at home. I mean, it's going to be a sellout Bryant-Denny Stadium. You know how crazy it gets there. It's the game. It's a night game. It's the game of the week on ABC. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a madhouse there for sure. And then I think surprisingly, who has done better than I expected is South Carolina. And I know they struggled against, I think it was Old Dominion, but I've been somewhat watching them just because of Rocket Sanders, as their running back now, and Rocket had some good times here at Arkansas. Wore the number 5. I don't like that. I don't like how we let them wear the number 5 and just go be able to transfer out. It's time.
Trey Knox was there last year. Now they got Rocket. They've had 2 Razorbacks.
It's time to hang
the last 2 years.
It's time to hang up the number 5
and really, they
jersey.
should be 4-0.
Yeah, it's time to hang up
LSU found a way to win that game. They should be 4-0.
They did. But I think it's
Just
time
like
to hang up the number 5 jersey at Arkansas. To just quit giving out. Don't let anyone wear it.
That's a McFadden.
That's the number there.
Yeah, he owns that one.
And then
someone said that best on NFL Network. I can't remember. I think it was Jerry Rice or someone like that. They said, "Why would you ever want to get your number retired when every time someone's wearing your number, they reference you?"
Yeah,
he's wearing the number 5, same as Jerry is. Rice or whatever.
Michael Irvin, the 88 with Dallas because of CD Lamb.
I get his point though. Why would you want your number retired when you're alive?
Who was the other guy? The 88 that Des Bryant.
Des Bryant, yeah.
Des Bryant wore the 88. Now CD Lamb wears the 88. It's kind of a tradition.
If I was blessed with that talent and had that much success, for whoever I played
I want
for,
to play up to it.
I would want them to wait till I was passed away before they retired my number. So I'm getting credit.
Give him his flowers
while he's alive. Yep, that's what he said.
Give me my flowers while I'm alive. Don't wait till I'm dead.
Exactly.
Let them know, why is that an 88 thing? Michael Irvin started that. Give me my flowers now.
Rocket Sanders, he made a good run. Who were they referencing?
Yeah.
Darren McFadden every time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Well, just moving on. I mean, we've played 4 games, coaching reviews, Bobby Petrino running the offense, T. Will running the defense, Sam Pittman running the whole show.
We'll break this into 4 sections. Let's go head coach, defense, offense, special teams. And I think an overall grade to it all would be a B-. I say Sam Pittman's probably a B+. T. Will's an A or A-. I wouldn't give him an A+ because obviously we've lost the game, giving up some points.
Yeah.
But I think he's obviously the best grade of all.
I'm waiting on this last grade here. You're about to.
Bobby Petrino, I would give him a B+.
No way. He's an A-. He has leading rushing for the nation, SEC or whatever. I mean, he is averaging 41 points per game. I know a lot of those was in one game, and he's had a couple bad games.
Well, the 70-0 UAPB
skewed the numbers.
Elevates those numbers.
If we win 45-38 this week, you'll think otherwise.
Well, then my B+ would jump to an A- or an A.
I think it's Green adjusting to his offense is what it is.
Then
it's
Scott
not his
Fountain,
fault.
I'm going to give him the lowest grade of all. I'm going to give him I'm going to give him a C+. I'll give him a C+.
Special
teams were a lot better at Auburn.
This game.
Yeah.
We've played 4 games, and this game looked better.
Yeah.
The 3 before that.
Can you blame him, though, for kicker misses? I mean, he's putting out the guy who's making the kicks in practice. If he's making them in practice, of course you're going to play him in the game.
Good.
Can you put that on the coach?
Some of our coverage has not been the best.
Have they ever run one back?
We could say the same thing about Taylor Green, and I'm on your side with Taylor Green about his accuracy, but
you can't do it with special teams and then say, "Oh, let's get Bobby a pass on how bad we play
that's what I'm saying. Taylor Green, it's Taylor Green's fault, not Bobby Petrino's. Same way with special teams. Have they? Well, I mean,
Which you said last
you
week.
can't blame the
that you
coach
were
for
right.
bad kicking.
You gave the
You can't
coaches
blame the
last
offensive
week.
coordinator, Bobby Petrino, for bad throwing.
Buck,
You can't do that.
what was the question last week? What was more important, coaches or players? And you said coaching. And
You're
now
right.
you're going to blame the players. So blame the coaches like you were last week. You put all the blame on the
Overall,
coaches.
it's coaching and the schemes, but it comes down to players making the plays.
So what if they don't?
But it's more important if you don't have the coaching, then the players are never in
Okay.
position to make the plays.
Let me draw out this scenario. You work and they hire somebody to train under you, and you got to train that person to do your job. You got to show them all the ins and outs of what the tasks at hand are every day.
Okay.
Okay. You say it perfect. You explain it perfect. Okay. And this guy fails. Okay. And he doesn't do it right. Are they going to blame you? Is the employer going to blame you for not training that person right? Or are they going to blame him for not listening?
It depends what it is. If he
coachable?
continuously, messes up, then of course
If it's
they're
a
going to.
good employer, they're going to blame a little bit of both.
But if it's one mess up, then you're blaming the person, not the teacher.
But haven't you heard who trained you?
But
Who
that's
taught
a
you
lot different. That's
this
a lot
way?
different. It's one-on-one there in that scenario. You're talking about a coach coaching 11 guys or more, for the backups coming in.
I get what you're saying, but you're kind of, to me, contradicting
no,
yourself.
it's
From
the
what
same
you said
thing.
last week,
It's the
you
same
said
thing.
it rides more on the coaches.
Listen.
And then now
What's
you're saying
wrong?
more
What's
on the
wrong with
players.
What's wrong with our offense? Green's accuracy. Nothing else is wrong. Bobby Petrino can't fix that. He's putting them out there having wide open receivers. Same way with the special teams. What's wrong with our special teams for the most part? It was our kicking that lost us the game in Oklahoma State.
I'm not saying
You can't blame the coach for putting him out there because he made him in practice.
But was it the kicker that lost us the game? Why didn't Bobby?
Also the guy muffed the punt because people kept getting close to him.
Why didn't Bobby Petrino go down there at the end of the first half and score where we get the ball back and go down and drive and score again and get up and not have to be?
That's a Pittman decision. That's a head coaching decision.
Bobby's running.
No.
Bobby is calling the play.
Bobby was pissed last week. If you were watching last week, Bobby and Pittman had a very heated discussion because Bobby at the very end of the game wanted to kick the field goal. And Pittman did not
said,
because he's
the ball.
He did bad word.
He did.
He's scared. He's scared.
We had
He's
the game
scared.
won. We had the
Pittman
game
was
won,
scared.
We had the
Pittman
game
was
won.
scared. He was.
Okay. What if we muff the snap and they run it back?
It was fourth down.
And what? Fourth and what?
It doesn't matter. We ran the ball.
What if we muff the snap and then they run it back?
When we had a chance to
and
put
then they
3
kick an
points on the
onside
board.
kick and get it back.
We had a 40-yard
You run the
field goal.
ball. You run the ball right there.
Well, there was a heated discussion on the sideline. You could tell Petrino wanted to kick that field goal.
Only time, because it was at the end of the game, that's the only time
I get that scenario.
Petrino said he
got
don't want
together.
Petrino said
But I'm proving my point that the head coach makes those decisions. Petrino wanted to kick that ball.
But Sam
40% of the time.
Sam Pittman does not trust the kickers from outside of 20 yards.
And you can't blame him for
20-yard line out.
You can't blame him.
He doesn't trust. He doesn't trust.
don't
He was
blame him.
afraid of it getting blocked,
blame
run for a
him either.
touchdown. I can't blame him for that. But
I don't.
I'm
either.
just trying to say that the head coach makes those calls.
Yeah.
In key moments like that, they will. But 97% of the plays, 97% of the time, offensively, Bobby has been the
Great
ringleader.
teams, the head coach is making that call. You don't think Nick Saban was making that call every single fourth down call? Are we going for it or not? He's making that call. He's not letting it up to his offensive coordinator.
I think it's sometimes
Same way
a
with
mutual
Kirby
decision.
Smart.
Yeah, I think
It's a mutual decision on those calls.
Well, it has a lot
You
to
gotta
do
think,
your
how
personnel,
many
but
plays-
I mean,
how many plays, Buck, does that happen? Maybe at the end of half, a couple plays, and maybe the last play at the end of the game.
ultimately, it comes down to the head coach.
Out of 80 plays a game.
He's the president. I mean, essentially, it's going through Congress and the two coordinators, but ultimately, the head coach makes the final call.
signs off on it. What you're saying.
I mean,
3 plays a game.
I don't know how else
Possibly,
I can explain.
depending on how the game goes.
I mean, obviously, we don't know what's being said on the headsets and aren't out there, but doesn't
We
get
got
to
some
see.
comments.
Yeah, Wes is out there. Wes is saying, talking about Deion Sanders in Buffalo, not in the conversation. a guess.
Speaking of that,
about-
Josh showed me, or Camo over here showed me the quarterbacks making money this year in college football. He's making $5.1 million.
NIL.
Was that right?
He was leading the.
That's insane.
stupid.
Yeah, and then Texas quarterbacks were like 3.4 for
And they're terrible.
The starter.
for the starter.
Their
Manning
Manning was like
shouldn't be
1.2,
that.
1.7.
And they were
something
all,
like
both
that.
in the top 5.
Tennessee quarterback was up there. Milroe with Alabama was up there. And then there was another
The
one.
Miami quarterback.
Yeah.
Can't remember
Yeah,
his name.
and they were all making about.
Do we know
1.2
what
or higher.
Green's making?
I don't know.
I think they've been pretty quiet with that, which I'm glad.
Yeah, I don't know what.
If you
what
had to
Green's-
guess.
750.
I'd
800.
probably.
That's
say
what I was saying. He was
That's-
saying less than that.
I
I'd say
would
less
say
than a
he's
million.
probably around a couple 100,000, if anything.
I think he's 300-400,
I'd say more than that.
maybe.
Well, I mean, and then let's shift from the coaches to let's just go into the players. I mean, who's the strong points? Who's our weak points on both
Well-
sides of the ball? I mean,
I think it's opposite on defense in what we said week 1.
We
I
thought
think
it was
we
going to
said
be
it
our
was going to be the
D-line.
D-line,
Yep.
but I think it's reversed.
It has.
I think our D-lines actually needs to step it up, and our back end,
Yep.
our linebackers and our secondary doing a phenomenal
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
stinking job.
Flying around.
I mean, I'm so proud of them. They're playing so hard.
The
And T.
quarterback-
Will's just, man, I would play for that dude any day of the week.
Yeah, our D-line needs to step it up for sure. They're average at best throughout this season. I don't even know what we're half sacks per game. Do y'all know that number?
our sacks.
It's pretty low. I think it's like
It's
one.
got to
yeah,
be low.
it's-
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's
And if we do have sacks, it's got to be a coverage sack, you think?
And I would say players, obviously on defense that I could probably call out need to do better. Well, we'll start with Landon Jackson.
Yeah, I was
The
about
dude's
to
got the captain.
call him out.
You know, he needs to do
he's
better.
got to
6'7",
I don't care if you're
280
getting
or
double
whatever
team. You got to
frame.
find a way to make
Cam
plays
Ball.
when you're that.
Campbell,
Good.
Gregory's been there for forever. I think
Sorry.
he's his 5th year.
Yeah.
Hudson
Sorry's
Clark.
really good though. I mean,
Hudson
he's
Clark's
our lead
coming back
tackler.
this week, is what I've heard.
He's
There's talks of
And
it.
Dix Jr.
yeah.
He started last week. I think he was our leading tackler again last week. Sorry and Dix Jr. is just
And DJ Metcalf
Really good.
came out of nowhere. I mean, he's the brother to
DK
DK Metcalf?
cousin to DK.
Isn't there another brother too? I've heard there's another brother
On the
on the
Metcalf
Arkansas
side?
Razorbacks. There's two.
Oh
brothers.
yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He don't play much.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, just coming back to it like we do every week, it's Taylon Green. I mean, here right now, he is sitting at 53% pass completion he's sacked 9 times.
That number needs to have a 6 in front of it.
He's got to get better, but
minimum.
but here's the stat.
I would like to see a
He's
7.
getting
Listen,
he's getting double teamed.
Here's the
but
stat. He's been sacked 9 times this year. You know, already through 4 games. You know how many times he was sacked last year alone, the whole year? 8.
Well, that goes back to what I was going to say. We talked about the defense, certain players, what we think, how we've done on that side of the ball. Offense, we have to protect better, which is going to play into your 9 sacks point with Taylor.
We need more quick, easy passes for him. I think there's too
It-
much slow,
It's slow
like wheel
developing.
routes. Long post routes coming up.
We
and
haven't ran
it's
any
taking too
screens.
much time.
We haven't
Bobby
ran
has-
any screens. That's the thing.
Bobby has not called up a
There's
screen
been a
yet.
few
We ran
screens
so
that's
many
been messed
screens.
up. There's been a few
We
screens,
ran
but
so many screens when he was our head coach. And matter of fact, speaking of screens,
that was our running game
at
back
our
then.
Tunnel screens to the
double
running
screen,
back.
all that.
I think he's not doing that because we actually have a running game now, though.
Yeah, we do. I think we had a running game back then. I mean,
Not as much as it is now.
The
Well,
pass,
here, let me
the
tell you this.
passing game opened up.
They're
the
going to
run
start
back then.
gearing the box up, stopping the run. They're going to start bringing pressure. With that pressure, you're going to have to run more screens because he's not going to have time to throw.
Yeah.
You're going to have to just let him come, let him dump it over the top of him. We'll get 20 yards plus.
So
Well-
what's the biggest key? I'm going to ask a question. What do y'all think the biggest key is for us to come in and dominate this aspect of the game in order for us to come out with the W
Against A&M.
against A&M?
We got to dominate the line because their defensive line is good.
Wait,
in
no,
the
they're
trenches.
specific.
In the
Like
trenches.
I'm talking like offensively or defensively.
I think
Both.
it's, I
Pick
think
one
it's,
side. Pick
I
one.
think it's offensively because I'll be honest with you. I'm not with how well our defense is playing. I think our defense is going to shut down a lot of their stuff that they're going to bring at us. I think it starts in the trenches. I think and it's all on the offensive side. And that's my bold prediction. I'm not going to go over it yet, but that's all I'll say for right now is that's That's my key.
I would agree with Caleb on that. With the O-line probably being number one, we have to play well. If Taylor don't have time to throw and they're getting pressure on us, it's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night.
I'm going to come kind of what I was saying about the quick passes. We got to get Luke Hawes more involved.
Yes,
he's the tight end. I know they're having to use him to pinch block or whatever, help the tackles out because we haven't been able to block. But we got to get him involved. Yeah. He's that good.
No, you're absolutely right.
In order for us to come out with a win in the A&M, I think he's got to have at least 50.
If Broden drops one more stinking ball,
he needs to get out.
Put Tesla in.
He needs to get out.
I don't care. Tesla can't get open because he's slower, but he has better hands and he can catch it.
He can catch the ball, and Bro's been targeted a lot. He's dropped a lot.
I don't think the problem is us getting open. It's the problem is us protecting and him with the accuracy.
Yeah, accuracy, pass block, and all that, but
which goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, back to the individual players. I mean, Jaquin Jackson leading rusher in the SEC. Armstrong,
he's leading in yards. Is he leading in touchdowns?
He's got eight touchdowns. He might
first back since Madre Hill.
Yep, since Madre Hill
to have eight rushing touchdowns 4 games into the season.
Rodney Hill's getting less and less touches every game.
Yeah, Braylon Russell stepping up.
Right. I mean, I like that though because Rodney Hill is not a big back for SEC.
He's just a cat back. That's the guy who we need to throw screens to because he's quick and throw. Get him
wheel routes. I don't know how his hands are if he can catch.
I just spit everywhere.
I think he can catch. I think that's kind of what I was thinking too. Is throw a little screen out there to him and let him out in the open field and let him go to work.
He's got wheels, but you got to get him out in space. When he's starting off right behind the quarterback on these stretch plays and these I-form formation runs, he's not out in the flats.
Well, I'll tell you what,
I think he'll do.
If we start out fast this week, I'm going to be real nervous because we almost messed it up last week again, like we did against Oklahoma State.
What would you say our time possession was? And this is going to kind of parlay into what I was wanting to say. What do you think our time possession was last week?
I had
What would you guess?
Drop that page.
How many minutes do you think we had it more than Auburn?
I know it was like 12 minutes longer, I think.
It's close to 15 minutes longer.
Okay.
It was 36 to 23.
13 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I said 14. Yeah, 14. 13 and some seconds. I'm rounding up.
13 minutes. I was
grading
right.
on a curve. I'm grading on a curve here.
This is at Arkansas mathematics.
It's at Greenbrier
2
Education.
+ 2 is 5.
Yeah.
But that's a lot.
Yeah, 36 minutes, 36 seconds.
Well, you know what that has to do with? I mean, that's our rushing attack. I mean, that's what every week we've won.
And I think really we have to do
every
something similar to that against A&M.
We've won the time of possession every week.
Yes.
And 3 out of the 4 weeks, it was terrible. Like, we dominated.
So they had more total yards, more passing. We've got to win this box score against A&M.
Yeah.
And I think time of possession
and turnovers.
And the turnover battle is going to be key. Just like
if we lose the turnover battle, we lose the game.
Yeah.
I think.
That's what I'm saying.
This is going to be a close game.
These games mirror each other in a way. We have to
like we said in week 1, this game for us has always been so pivotal.
Is that a word, pivotal?
No, pivotal
is now.
It's a word
now, but I meant pivotal because
I'm going to bring some dictionary to the
let the loss when we've lost a close one 2 years ago when KJ Jefferson fumbled on the 1-2 yard line or try to jump from the 5 yard line, and go in, and they had that 97-yard touchdown.
Pivotal. Maybe you're pivoting on a table or something. Pivotal.
It is pivotal. This is pivotal. These mic stands are pivotal. But
our English teaching sisters not very proud of you.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I think it's one of the most. It's the most pivotal game on our schedule. It's always usually early on in SEC play. First or second.
Well, we
game.
said week 1. These first 5 games are so key to how the season's going to go.
It is.
We've done really well. We're 3-1. We need to get
should be 4-0.
Could be 4-0.
And just to remind you guys, who had 4-1 week 1? on these games.
What was your
Who had
final?
4-1?
What was your final prediction though? Let's go about that.
I had 6 and 6.
Okay,
Yeah.
same as me.
I'm leaning towards 7 and 5 now. I think we get the LSU game now.
I said that at the beginning
I've
of the
got
year.
that.
If you go back and look at mine,
Chalk it up as a dub on that one. So we kind of touched on this earlier, but who needs to step up on the team? You know, we kind of mentioned Landon Jackson, but who needs to step up on the team, both on both sides of the ball and maybe even on the coaching staff? I mean,
we said Landon Jackson. I think Broden on offense, and I think special teams. Obviously, Ramsey cannot go 50% on field goals. He's going to have to hit. He's going to have to make field goals.
Defensive line, offensive line, and then when he is getting time in the pocket, Green's accuracy. Yeah. Now, if he's rolling out and flushed out of the pocket, I understand he might be a little inaccurate, but it seems like he's been throwing better out of the pocket to me.
Yeah.
Every time even that throw out across his body was a little underthrown, but big play.
A little bit late, too. Yeah. He should have threw it.
I mean, he was running for his life. I mean, what do you expect?
I think for me, the biggest player that has to step up is Landon Jackson. I think he's got to come in here this week and have at least 1, maybe 2 sacks, maybe
flex his muscles a little bit.
Yep. He's got to show out
something.
This week.
I agree.
And because if we can get pressure on the quarterback, whichever one they go to, I know it's going to be the what's his name?
What does pressure do though? It causes.
You can't expect us to get 4 more interceptions this week. No, we might get 1.
I'm not expecting 5, but 2 or 3 would
that's
be
what
nice.
I'm saying. Because we've got to be better all around, but specifically rushing the passer and then protecting our passer.
So they're going with Reed. He's got 4 touchdowns, the same as Taylor Green, but he's only got 422 yards in the air. And I think if we create so much pressure up front, maybe we run some schemes where we show blitz and back off, or we stack the box and, you know, we maybe play some cover 0 or something like that. Make him beat, just like I said, the key to beating Arkansas is make Taylor Green beat you.
Okay, you know what? And you said it perfect. How many rushing touchdowns do we have on the year? 17. How many passing touchdowns do we have on the year? 4. That is such a lopsided number to me.
Yeah.
If I was a defense, I'm like, okay, I'm putting 9 guys in the box, you know, and make Taylor Green throw it accurately, make him hit some receivers, and just hang your hat on stopping the run against Arkansas.
Yeah.
17-4 is not a good number. That scares me.
Yeah.
We're going to have to put the ball in there. That doesn't look like a Bobby Petrino offense to me. That looks like a Brett Bielema and Houston Nutt offense to me. So 17 rushing touchdowns and 4
passing.
Let me stat you here. That's not a Bobby Petrino offense.
How many passing attempts do we have?
Well, Taylor Green's got 121
total.
Well, I mean, he's
137.
Well, he hasn't thrown every ball.
How many rushing attempts do we have? 173.
Probably almost
40 something more rushing attempts, or that's Arkansas.
It's the thing that's working.
Yeah, it's a little less than 40. It's 37 more.
Well, that's
so.
It's what's working. Of course, it's going to be more.
That's a good offensive coordinator. He's doing what we do best, and that's running the football.
Yeah. Well, my bold prediction is only going to make the rushing attempts more than our passing attempts this year.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, I mean, week 5 Hogs A&M last game at Jerry World. I'm sick and tired of playing there. We can't win at that.
This is
stadium.
the last year, yeah.
I'm sick and tired of it. We go to home and home, you know, and then we
who has first home after? Do y'all know?
I think we do.
I don't know.
I think it's at home in Arkansas next year.
Yeah, probably because technically we are the away team this year.
I'm pretty sure
I don't know how to do it.
Fayetteville next year.
Yeah.
Anyway, bold prediction.
Well, I had if y'all remember, I had us winning this game in week 1.
I had us winning too.
And I had it at my score back then was 38-35, but I have changed it. I've told y'all this week I've been, I don't know, maybe I've been more invested in the team. You know, maybe the win against Auburn.
Today, Junior.
I'm building up. We're fixing the climax right here, bud.
You wouldn't know nothing about that.
I've got 2 kids. For me, 3 total. But what I'm saying is, I had us at 35-38. We're gonna come out. We're gonna smack the shit out of them up front, We're gonna stomp their ass in the ground.
I hope so.
We're gonna win 41-21. We're gonna shut them down on offense. Our defense is gonna be. I almost said the F word.
Yeah, no,
It's
you
gonna
said
be-
you said it
'cause I'm getting
backwards. You
fucked.
said shut down them
No
on
F
offense.
words
We're
on
gonna
the
shut-
Tusketeers podcast.
Yeah, I almost said it. I'm sorry.
So why do you think we're going to dominate like that? What have you
Because
seen?
I think our Russian attack is
Colt.
gonna, I think our Russian attack is going to. I think we're going to have 275.
You don't
yards
think
on-
they
on the
have
ground.
talent enough to say they're running the ball? Let's make them pass
It's
it.
not about.
I think they do.
I'm not saying they don't.
We do too.
I'm saying it's about playmakers, and I think Jaquin and Jackson and Taylor Green on their legs.
It don't matter how good you
are
are.
going
You
to-
put Emmett Smith back there. If you got 8 SEC people in the box, a good SEC team,
I think
it doesn't matter.
I'm just
So
telling you.
41-21.
41-21
Okay.
with 275 yards on the ground. That's like I said. I was right about Zidane last week. I'm
You called
hoping
it.
I'm right this week.
I hope you are, man.
Here's what I do when I make my notes for this. For our podcast, I write down what I feel like is coming to me.
Yeah, it comes naturally. Comes
Comes
to
to me
your gut.
naturally, to my
Yeah.
gut, and I
Yeah.
try not to use.
I do the same thing.
I try not to use Homer mentality when I do this because I've got losses obviously on our schedule, and one of the losses I've got a pretty bad loss.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well,
gonna,
you mentioned
not gonna
Satania.
s-
Good wide receivers make a quarterback look good.
Yeah, but here's why I'm saying my bold prediction, and then I'm going to shut up and let y'all talk. But what did you said what we had a what on our shoulder last week?
Chip
We
on
had a
the
chip
shoulder.
on our shoulder. I think we're gonna have a chip on our shoulder this week too, because for once the last game, we're tired of freaking losing to A&M. All right, it ends now. But you know whose dad is on the A&M coaching staff? Not football, but is a coach, and it's a dad. And he's one of our prominent players. Is a assistant track and field coach for Texas A&M.
Have no idea.
I just want to say that your whole rushing thing, we're just going to run it down their throat, basically.
We're gonna freaking run it down the throat.
Notre
So-
Dame, their first game, they lost.
Notre Dame's
Notre Dame only had 47 rushing yards.
Notre Dame is terrible.
Their
Right,
last
they're
their
terrible.
last game against Bowling Green has 40 rushing yards.
Bowling Green's terrible.
Against Florida, they're
Florida's
rushing.
terrible.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
Well,
you're
yeah.
giving me no. You're
but
not proving
every
any
game I
point.
look at, I mean, the other team has less than 100 rushing yards. That's saying
We're a
something.
better rushing team than any of those.
Any of
teams.
those. teams,
I understand
By
that,
far.
but
By
are
far.
we going to dominate like he's saying?
Because we're a better
I
rushing
think
team,
so.
and we have 3 running backs that's good,
I
plus
think
a rushing
If
quarterback.
they know our weakness,
I think Caleb's
I
on
don't.
something.
I
I really do.
hope he is.
I
but
say we have over
anyway,
200 yards rushing.
we're going to have to pass the win.
I say we have 200 yards.
I
So-
think the opposite.
So the player's dad, who's on the A&M coach staff, is Isaiah Satania. Mario Satania is the assistant track and field coach. I think we're gonna have a chip on our shoulder. I think he was on just on drive time earlier this week. He's on there every week, and he was like, they're like, I think Randy said, "What do you like about A&M?" Then if your dad's there, he's like, "Hell, I don't like nothing about A&M," and just between that,
Just my dad's
and I've
job.
had a little bit more to think about. Since we're doing this on Thursday, I've had a little bit more time to think and process. I like what Petrino's saying. I like what Sam Pittman is saying about practice. I listen. It's one thing I haven't done this year is listen to the Sam Pittman show
On
at
Wednesday.
7 on Wednesday.
So
Catfish
let me get to
show
my
or
score
Jaguar.
prediction.
That's a catfish show.
I think
So,
kind of the opposite of you. I think A&M has a good enough SEC talented defense to be able to say, we're going to make Arkansas beat us one way. And Bobby Petrino knows this. He knows their weaknesses. They said on the radio show
Bowling
on
Green scored 20
Out of
points on them.
Bounds. They said Bobby Petrino, DJ Williams, he used to play, tight
Yeah,
end. They
yeah.
said, did y'all hear this? He said that Bobby Petrino used to scheme against defenses, picking out 1, maybe 2 players that were the most weakest links.
And then
And
pick
Bobby
on-
Petrino would pick on them all game long.
Yeah.
Well, he knows their weaknesses because he coached there last year against them every
new
day.
players. New players.
No,
That
no,
don't
the
mean
same
shit.
front seven.
That don't mean shit. to
That
me.
same front seven is the same front
We've
seven
got
this year.
55
The
new
same
players.
7 people, 3 linebackers, 4 linemen is the same 7.
Okay.
He knows their strengths and he knows their weaknesses. I think he's going to find a way this week to get Luke Hass involved in the passing game because he knows which linebacker to pick at. He knows how to pull the strings, and I think he knows that they're going to try to stop the run because that's what we're best at. And I have
Well, I
us
think that's-
winning even though I had us predicted as a loss beginning of the year.
You're flipping?
I'm flipping.
Woo!
That just means it's just because of Bobby Petrino.
That scares me.
Turn it up, baby. Come on.
Where's the
let's
sound?
go, let's
Where's
go.
the sound? I thought you were playing
Just-
the sound.
I am,
Anyway,
just
my
do it.
prediction, we are winning 34-27. We're going to have a late
34-27.
touchdown, big play. I don't know who it's going to be to, but it's going to be either
It's a Taylor.
Taylor Green running, and if we do have a good running week, it's going to be all quarterback rolling out of the pocket. He's going to find ways to get him out of the pocket and get him some
I think
open
You're giving
receivers.
Jaquin Jackson no love. But
No, I am. I love him. He's still going to have close to 100, if not over 100. But that's not going to be the reason we win. He might have 25 rushing attempts, and we're going to try to do it, but they're going to make us pass the ball.
And you're saying we're going to pull it off.
We're going to pull
You're
it
saying
off.
we're going to actually
Bobby,
execute
because
that.
of Bobby Petrino, we're going to pull it
Okay.
off.
Well, I think you have valid points. I think you both really bring
I'm
up
just
some
glad
really
you
good
had a
points.
win and that you flipped.
Well, I'm
Well,
flipping.
He went against his gut last week. Now he's learned his lesson, so now he's doing what he should have done last week.
I'm going with my heart this week. My mind's saying even we're going to win because I'm looking at it on paper. We have more yards per game. Our defense looks better. Our quarterback looks better. Our running back looks better. We look better in every category almost. So
Yeah.
I'm
and
going.
that's going to play into what I say, because I'm going to say three things, and we'll start with what you were saying. I think because of the numbers, I think our team. I think we have better coaching staffs that can make better, good halftime adjustments,
more experience.
in-game adjustments
Mhm.
with what they're bringing to the table and how they're going to play us scheme-wise, and try to pick on either a player or the way they're choosing to play us, and then kind of, do the opposite. Whatever that is, pass, run, I don't know what it's going to be. Obviously, I think they're going to try to stop the run. We're going to have to, be successful pass-wise. But, in the middle of the game, that can flip really quick. What you do first half don't mean what you're going to do second half.
Yeah.
It could look like two totally different ball games,
For sure.
from half to half.
Oklahoma State. Look at
Just
that.
look at Oklahoma State. So I think we're better coach-wise, player-wise. I think we have the advantage there. That's number one. Number two, just like I said, I feel like these games mirror each other. We had a chip on our shoulder because of T. Will last week, because he played at Auburn. That was his alma mater. We were wanting to go in there as a defense and really show up for our D coordinator. Now it's going to flip to the offense because Bobby played or coached for A&M last year. So, is the defense going to need to play well? Do we need to have a chip on our shoulder? Yes, but for different reasons. Let's end the Southwest Classic. Let's play well. But the offense now has a chip on their shoulder. Want to do good for Bobby to beat A&M. So I think that's going to play into it too.
Yeah.
So that goes into running the ball. Let's have over 200 yards rushing. Let's have over 300
I think
yards
this first
passing.
drive, Bobby's going to go for the kill early. He's going to try to, and that scares me because if it doesn't work, then it's going to put us in a hole. But I think he's going to come out trying to take some shots down the field.
That's what I think.
Well, this depends on, this is my third point. All this depends on our O-line
What's your final score?
dominating the line of scrimmage in the trenches, which goes to more flip to Caleb's point. I went on your point, the first point. I'll end on what Caleb said. The trenches on offense is what's going to have to, to be solid for us in order to pull off what we're all talking about. But I think we keep the trend of the Southwest Classic being close. It's always been a competitive fourth quarter game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like Caleb said, but I do have a win, 27-24, same score that I wrote down. Same score I wrote down week one.
You're going against Bobby
and
there.
And I think that's what Colt said. Did Colt say 27-24?
I think there's got to be at least another touchdown
think-
there.
I think we have the exact same
Yeah,
score.
I think
By a field
I need to
goal.
write it down.
And I'm
whenever
going
he
to
said
flip.
that.
I'm going to say Ramsey kicks a 38-yard field goal with 19 seconds left. Green drives us down there. Bobby dials up 3 or 4 or 5 plays. We get to the 29-yard line, and we kick a 38-yard field goal.
The last
kick it
time
in.
He's smoking that funny grass over there.
we beat A&M in 2009. Bobby's his second year at Arkansas. We beat A&M 47-19, and I think it's going to be. That's why I picked 41-21, not the score. I knew we had blew them out pretty bad back then.
You said we
I
only
didn't
won
look at
one.
that.
So
But Pittman's won against A&M too.
last thing,
That's what I'm saying. Since A&M's joined the SEC, we've only beat them one time.
So
and
they
that
wasn't
was-
in that.
No, they joined the SEC
with
in
Bobby. Yeah, that's right.
2012.
Yeah, but we've beat them more than once in this game.
Yeah.
At Southwest
Yeah.
Classic.
So do y'all think we're gonna have more rushing yards than passing yards?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have more
No.
rushing yards.
No, I don't. I
If
think
we're-
we're going to have over 200 rushing yards, but I think we'll have 300
That's a
yards
lot.
passing.
That's a lot.
We got to have 500 yards of offense.
Here's why I think we're gonna have more rushing yards because we're gonna. This is what I wrote down.
You don't think
This is literally what I wrote
A&M
down.
has a better defense than Auburn
No.
or Oklahoma State?
It doesn't matter. What you're not getting my point. What I'm saying is we're going to have playmakers. Our playmakers are going to be better than their playmakers. And what I wrote down is we're going to run all over their
Stinking
ass.
butt.
Is that
You got ass.
where
I
did you
said
run?
we run all
I don't-
over they
you-
ass.
That's
That's
exactly
what I said.
that's
That's
actually
what we're
exactly
gonna
what he
do,
wrote down.
Because
That's
here's
crazy.
what's going to happen when we get in the red zone. Then they're
In
going to
capital
they're
letters.
going to stack the box. Yes, they're going to try to stack the box.
Is that a peach
outside of the
symbol right
red
beside that?
But we're going to get in the red zone, and then guess what? We're going to find Lucas. We're going to find Tesla. Armstrong's going to catch some touchdowns for us finally. We're going to have a complete
hope you're
game.
right.
This
Well-
is what I'm saying. We're going to put together a complete game. We're going to go out there, and we're going to
I think
finally
A&M.
embrace the hog
I
all the
don't-
way around,
I think
and we're
you're,
going to win.
you're too hyped. You're too hyped.
Because
I think
I've got the feeling all week, dude, and I've never felt this way this year.
you're too hyped.
this
You're too
much.
hyped with the talent we have. Understand that, but you got to think of who we're
He's
playing.
on the bandwagon. He's in the front
A&M.
row. He's in the front
A&M
row.
still has great talent.
But they're overrated.
Maybe more talented than us, just not at the most important positions. But they might be overly talented, more talented than we are at the front seven for sure on defense than our front seven right now than they're playing.
I will
think-
say this.
I think their
Defensively,
D-line is
they're
their
this
strongest
much better
point.
than Auburn.
They're good enough to make us one-dimensional if we're going to beat them.
A&M is
And
this
if
much
they were
better than
smart,
Auburn.
they would make us pass.
Defensively,
That's all I'm saying.
A&M's this much better than Auburn. Offensively, I think they're worse than Auburn.
No, I don't think. How can he be worse than Auburn? That was terrible.
Well,
I think I could have went out there and played as good as them quarterbacks.
I think if Thorne would have
I
played
mean,
the whole
seriously.
game, if Thorne would have played the whole
Just
game, we would have
don't throw a pick. Just, I mean, something.
So since they've joined, it's been 12 games since A&M, or since 12 years since they joined the SEC. The 12 games, 6 of the 12 games have been one score or less. It's always close.
That's what I said. We're gonna keep that.
But I
trend.
think one thing
We gotta
is,
remember this.
We've got we've got a W across the board.
That's what I was
like-
about to say.
I like to see
for the
it.
first time.
For the first.
Well,
Well,
other than
no,
UAB.
Let's remember
UAB, UAPB, UAB, and I think those only 2
Yeah,
weeks
yeah.
we've had. We were all.
Remember this energy. If we come back and barely win or lose next week, I'm going to bring this up.
If we
I've
win,
got us barely winning.
if I'm right, not. I think
I'll bet you. If we have over 200 yards rushing, Green has 80 of those.
you're probably right. I'm not going to
He's got
disagree that.
he has about every
You think
game.
Jaquin Jackson
that's
and
what I'm
Braylon
saying.
He's
Russell's
had
going
about
to get
80 or 90 every
270
game.
yards, 275 yards by themselves? No,
Well, you were just talking Jackson up like he's
I think Jackson's going to have a majority of that, but
Well, just
he's
think,
going to have
for us to
help
get
with,
to 200 yard
with-
rushing, Buck, that's 120 for
Taylor
JJ and 80 with Green, and that's not even counting Hill or
Braylon Russell.
Braylon Russell. I
I'm
feel
thinking,
like it's pretty
what's your
easy to get
passing
to
numbers
200
you
the
think
way
we're going to get?
we play them.
I mean, I think we'll probably have a couple hundred. I'm not saying we're just going to have 100.
You
yards
said
or
we're going to
less.
have more rushing yards, though.
I think we're going to have more rushing yards, but I think we're going to have probably around 200 passing yards because what I'm saying is we're going to have short passes. We're going to nickel and dime them, and our bust out plays are going to
That's
be
not
Jaquin
Green's
and
play style,
Jackson's.
though. That's not Bobby Petrino's play style either. Nickel
Well,
and
you know,
dime.
but-
He takes shots
But we haven't played Bobby.
haven't
really
Petrino's
taken
all
shots.
year.
because we don't have the pass protection.
But you got to think of how this game's gone, guys. There's always been, we get 30, 40, 50 yards down the field, drive stalls. They get 30, 40, 50 yards down the field, the drive stalls that are a field goal, and then it's slow rolling. And, this is the way this game's gone. This is the way it's gone. That's
Yeah.
why
It's
my
a punch.
yardage,
It's exchanging blows.
it's exchanging blows. My yardage does not line up with the score. And I said 500 yards of offense, but it's only 27-24 because I've seen this trend. I've watched these games, and I could be wrong. I could be completely off base here, but I'm going with history repeats itself and how I've watched Arkansas, how A&M has played. I've watched their highlights on every game this week of how they've played their opponents. And I'm really thinking that we're going to exchange blows. We're going to have some stalled drives. They're going to have some stalled drives. But at the end, we'll score more than them, low scoring, fairly low scoring, 27-24.
So, yeah, I confirmed. So, we lead the overall series 42-35, and then we've tied 3 times. Lost, 34-22 last year. So, but lines at, you said Bet Saracen's got us at minus or
we're
A&M
5.5 point underdogs.
Yeah. So,
which I would take that bet 10 times over.
I'm
And
telling
twice
you right
on
now,
Sunday.
Bobby Petrino's wanting some revenge. He's taking some shots this game.
yeah.
He ain't going to run the ball
And I think
all game.
But I think what's
It's
going
not
to
gonna
happen
work, first
is
off.
Bobby's going to be scheming up plays that might not be fit the Bobby Petrino style fully 100%. But I think you're right. I think he's going to be like, when I was there, Jimbo Fisher, who was at the touchdown club this week. I hadn't watched. I don't know.
I watched.
I
it.
just
It was
thought of
very
this.
good.
Did
Jimbo
he,
Fisher
did he give a
was
score?
awesome.
Did he say, "Hey, good luck"? Or
Oh, no, I don't think he gave a score position. I think he kind of played the middle ground between A&M and Arkansas. I think he really bragged about Arkansas. He mentioned Darren
Deep,
McFadden was
yeah.
the best back he's ever faced
When he was at
coaching in
Auburn.
when he was
SEC.
with
Auburn.
Yeah. I thought it was,
yeah,
it was
Auburn.
really
I was going to say
impressive.
LSU, but that was
I'll
Matt
say
Jones.
this to kind of combat how I feel like A&M's going to play us, and this is just something that I really think is going to happen. Coming to my mind a few seconds ago.
They're going to be aggressive.
I think we've
be
struggled
more
blocking in the
aggressive.
empty set with 5 wide receivers, 3 and 2, 2 and 3. However, we do an empty set with no running back in the backfield. In order to combat their pressure, you're going to force them to put more D-backs on the field to guard our wide receivers. We're going to spread it out wide, and we're going to try to get Talon to get it out of his hands a lot quicker with
Which,
more receivers on the field. That's going to happen.
and those
I really
quick
think.
passes.
And then we're going to go to the running game. and we're
remember
gonna
back
flip
in the
and
day,
forth.
Ron Mallett, a lot of them touchdowns, quick slant across the middle. Boom, Jarius Wright, 80 yards.
Yeah, I mean,
But it was a quick 5-yard pass,
But
but it was a
I
touchdown.
bet you will see more empty sets this game.
So let
You
me
think
let
so?
me make
Yeah.
this point before we wrap up.
that would be good for my bowl
So our
prediction.
rushing yards,
but we'll go back to the run.
Yeah.
But I'm saying when we pass, it'll be an empty set.
I've got to make this point. Our rushing yards, our rushing team, our rushing offense is great, right? We have a good rushing attack. Y'all would say that? Y'all would say that. Okay.
Yeah,
That means we're rush blocking good. We're run blocking very well,
but not pass blocking well.
but not pass blocking well. But it's kind of blocking is blocking. It's a little bit different. I played O-line and D-line. I know it's a lot different of the D-line and
Running,
O-line,
you
but
take the aggression of them when you're running the football. You create the contact. You're going forward, rushing the football. When you're when
you're not
pass
letting me
blocking,
finish my
you can't-
point.
You're on the
Yeah, you
defense.
can't go
You're
forward.
just trying to contain them.
But
They
you're
have the
still
aggression.
what? You're still blocking them
You have to
and
use your
preventing
feet more.
them from getting to the player behind
You have to use your feet more in pass blocking. Run blocking, you're just firing off the ball.
but run blocking, you're
But
also moving them. You're going forward and you're moving them.
You're
a
the
certain
aggressor.
way.
What I'm
You're the
saying,
aggressor.
there's no reason why we couldn't be good in pass blocking because we have a quick O-line, and that's a fact. We have a very fast O-line, which comes back to your point, I think, Josh, of throwing more screens. But I think maybe we should throw more screens or, do quick passes to help out our
Pittman
O-line.
has
Get
said
them
he's
some more.
watched the film against Auburn. Well, the reason why we didn't pass block as well, even in the last couple
We're
games
missing
before,
assignments.
we're missing
Yeah.
assignments. But
That's
also
all.
the schemes of trying to hide the mic, and because what does the center do?
But
When
that-
he gets up to the ball before he snaps, he's finding the mic linebacker, because once you find the mic, these two guys, the right guard and the left guard, or right guard and right tackle, know who to block.
So
after that. And then the left side.
we're talking about the O-line right now, right? Who does that fall on?
The O-line
Eric
coach.
Mateos.
Okay. Who do you think's over the O-line more than him though?
Eric Mateos.
That's false. You know the answer.
You think Pittman is
Pittman,
coaching the
who's
O-line
over
more
the-
than Eric Mateos?
Then who's over the offense?
Pittman is
Who's over the
more
offensive
controlling
play
over
call?
the O-line over
You
any
think-
other aspect of our team.
But
But-
you say the same thing. Again, he's over the offense total. He's over Bobby Petrino.
He makes the final calls every time. An important decision he's making because it's his job on the line. He's making the most money.
If you
I
think
he's
for
the head
one
coach.
second,
I think he
if
focuses
you think
more
for
on
one
the
second,
offensive line.
Pittman
He has
spent
his
more time
most
with the
fingers.
offense than Eric Mateos,
I never said that. I said Pittman has his hands in the O-line more than any other position on the field.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, then. So why doesn't
But it can't.
We've had a terrible O-line pass blocking this entire season. Why hasn't Pittman fixed it?
But you can say the
He
same
has not
thing with
fixed
Bobby Petrino. Who's got his hands on the quarterback more, Pittman or Bobby Petrino? Why? If
Petrino.
Then why is Taylor Green suck?
Because his
Why is he-
accuracy sucks.
Then why can't Bobby Petrino fix it?
Because he can't have time in the pocket
I'm just-
because of who?
You're just,
Pittman.
you're just contradicting.
No,
yourself.
I'm not.
That's all I'm
Listen
saying.
to what I'm saying.
I am,
Oh,
and you're
Lord
contradicting.
Petrino
yourself.
can't coach the quarterback to have time in the pocket if he doesn't have the time.
Well, time out. This is what it sounds like you're saying.
Oh my
It
god!
sounds like you're saying you want to blame Pittman for the O-line woes, but you don't want to blame Bobby Petrino for Taylor Green's woes.
No, time out. If Pittman fixes the O-line woes, what happens then?
Okay, so
Green has more
let me ask this
time
question.
and fixes his problems.
Let me ask this
But
question.
to your
Do
point,
you
Bob,
think
Bobby
every time
Petrino's not
Taylor
throwing
has
the
been
ball.
inaccurate?
Sam Pittman's not out there blocking.
You're right. You're right. It comes down to the players, but I'm
Listen.
saying you got to coach them up better.
Do you-
And what he was saying in his thing, Pittman said what? What did he say? We're
Well,
missing assignments.
Do you think that every time Taylor Green has missed a throw, he's been pressured? No, he hasn't been
I
pressured. every
haven't
time
said
he's
that.
missed a throw.
I did that.
So it
them
ain't the
words-
O-line's
did those
fault every
words
time he don't
ever?
complete a
Did
pass.
those words ever come out of my mouth?
You
No.
said that.
No.
You said the reason why he's not completing passes because of the O-line, and that's Pittman's
No.
fault. Every time
That's
he doesn't
part
complete
of
a
the
pass, it's
reason.
not the
Did I
offense's
say
fault.
every incompletion is because of the O-line's fault? No, there's been times he's screwed up and overthrown receivers. But there's been a lot of times he's pressured out of the pocket, running for his
should
life.
Bobby try to get him to work on his mechanics more and not throw?
They
it
have
sidearm
been.
like you
They
said
have been. If
2
you go
weeks
back
ago?
and look at the film,
Well,
go back
that-
and look at the film from Bowling Green or wherever the hell, Boise State.
Well, Bobby
He
needs
played
to
last
coach
year to
harder.
now. He's throwing his elbow more up now. That's why
Bobby
he's
needs to
better.
coach harder because he's still throwing a little sidearm. He's still not
My
complete
mic's
passes.
It doesn't
He
help
was
if
15
it
for
doesn't help if you
27.
don't have time to throw it.
Well, not every time.
All
He
right,
hasn't been pressured every
let's
time
agree
he's
to disagree. Come
not
on.
completed a pass.
That's
Come
a
on.
stat that we need to come with next week. Someone look it up. Buck, since this is your point, look up the percentage of
Rushes.
rush.
How many times he's been rushed in the
How-
pocket?
If you're
How
trying
often
to, if you're trying to tell me
being
though,
rushed?
if
Sacked 9
if-
times. How many times did he be
if the
rushed?
O line,
Compared to how many times he's incompleted a pass?
if the O line
Oh, and
does a
throwing the
better
drops,
job
too.
pass blocking, will that not help Taylor Green throwing?
Yes, I'm not
Thank
arguing. I'm not arguing with
Thank you.
All I'm saying is you are contradicting yourself
No,
when
I'm
it comes to the coaches and who gets the blame and who gets the praise.
I'm
wanting-
not.
Yeah, you are.
I am not. I'm not.
Anyway,
Petrino is not. You think Petrino has his hand in the O line more than Pittman?
no.
Okay,
no, we
then.
don't.
Okay.
What's our biggest problem on offense?
But just like Bobby,
Pass blocking.
Bobby can't make
And accuracy.
Taylor complete a pass, just like Pittman can't make the lineman have better footwork.
Two
against
biggest
the-
woes on
the
offense.
left
Two
side,
biggest woes. Number one,
defensive
pass
end.
blocking. Number two, accuracy. If you fix number one, it helps number two. That's all I'm saying.
But Pittman isn't the one to blame for.
I never
people
said he's
missing
the main
assignments.
to blame. You're misunderstanding. I say he out of the whole team, out of
Well,
all.
you were trying to make the point of who's got their hands involved
in the offensive
in,
line
in
of
the
why they're
offensive line
being
more
not,
than anything.
not being successful. You said Pittman. So your point
Pittman
was
has
you're going to
his-
blame Pittman.
You agreed to
But then
me
you wanna-
earlier. You said he has his hands the most in the offensive
what-
line out of the whole team,
That's
right?
what it sounded
We
like. You
all
were
agree
making.
on that.
That's what you were. That's
So
what I
he
was
should
taking as you were trying to
understand
make
what
your point.
our biggest woes are on offense and fix it. We're missing assignments. That's coaching.
Yes.
What about Taylor Green not making the right read? Is that Taylor Green or is that Bobby Petrino?
He can't make the right read if he's not getting time.
What about the one he threw to UAB right to me? He took it in for 6. the
Anyway,
first
we can
possession
talk.
of the
We're
game.
going to argue. We're going to go in circles all day here.
Well, I think we're all right, to say the least.
I'm more right than him.
Oh my gosh.
But what I hope we're all right is when we do this next week.
I hope
is
we're right. We're
hope
3-0
that we're
Four-
3-0
4
on
and
our
one.
for our
picks. And we're going.
guesses.
So I'm going to the game next week with a couple buddies, Wes, if you're
Tennessee?
still watching. Yeah, me and Wes and another old neighbor of mine, and Wes's current neighbor is Steve. And then we're meeting Scott up there, who Scott is a Tennessee,
fan.
But
He'll
hey,
be wearing that burnt
He'll
orange.
be wearing the orange.
Wes just texted me, said he's going to give his ticket to me.
Shit. Hey, you can buy one
For my
Well,
birthday. My birthday's coming up. Come on.
Oh, let me get.
Happy birthday.
No, listen. I told him. I said, let's go to a Buffalo Bills game. I'm gonna be hunting.
Hey man, you gotta have priorities. That's all the way. That's a whole.
You can hunt.
I ain't got a time out. Let's not get in our personal lives, but I've had to spend a lot of vacation on some stuff this year.
Yeah.
I don't have enough vacation for that this year.
Yeah.
I'll say
Well, we know you put hunting pretty top of the list.
It's up there for.
I'm not gonna lie. Turn
Well,
the camera a little bit. You'll see.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining, and appreciate everyone that's listened to us thus far. And I've got I've got some feedback before the show on maybe to change up some of our titles that we put out there. So I'm going to try to maybe get some algorithms working better on YouTube and get us some more followers. But anyway, hopefully I'll get this uploaded to YouTube tonight and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that to be ready for everyone to listen to tomorrow. But hey, it's Razorback Red Friday. Wear your Razorback shirts tomorrow. And let's get ready to go.
Is it tomorrow or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. We're
tomorrow.
Arkansas. It's tomorrow.
And the other day was about
It's
3
just
years
like
ago.
tomato.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Hey, let's get
Patrina.
let's get ready to go to.
Let's go home, baby.
And let's go whip some ass.
Let's go down to
Let's
the
go
Big
kick
D
some
and get a big W.
Let's go, baby. Appreciate everybody.
Hey!
Whoop pig, go home. Appreciate it.